Hey guys, Seth and Danny from Jump Ship here to talk about a little different topic today, and that is what we have learned over our years and years of owning small businesses. So 4 tips on that. We're going to start with the first one, might as well dive right in.
Well, they're not tips.
All right, they're lessons.
Yeah, they're certainly
4
not
lessons.
tips.
They kind of are tips, but 4 lessons.
Yeah, I think, so I've never had a real job. I've only ever owned gyms or the online company. I've never worked for somebody. I don't think I could, but I don't think anybody would want to hire me because
I had a real job and it's not for me.
yeah, you've had one real job.
No, I had a few.
Okay, but for most of our lives, most of our working lives, we've worked for ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think a couple little things we've kind of noted down. Like number 1, don't ever expect to have a day off. Like I work and he works 7 days a week. We work on Christmas, it doesn't matter, you work every single day, no matter what. I've never had a day off.
At least when you're starting out and growing your business. I mean, at some point when you're Amazon, you might be able to take a couple weeks off.
But when you're Jump
year.
Ship, you don't take a day off.
No, none. Especially with 2 gyms and an online company. You can always expect that somebody needs some kind of customer service help. You can always expect to have questions from clients or even people on Instagram because everyone's schedule is different, so they're going to ask you questions anytime they want. There's just always something to do.
Also for us too, which it's our personal problem, but because we're in Hawaii, the time zone. So when I wake up, I'm getting emails and whatever from people, East Coast who, for them, some of them are working out at 3 a.m. our time. So no matter what, every morning he'll wake up to remote clients, I'll wake up to emails, whatever. So that doesn't necessarily play into our favor of knowing that every single day when you get up, there's something to be done.
And even if you don't have the companies like we have or the online company, at the gyms, there'll always be something you can do for your even singular gym that can always improve it. There's always more you can be doing there. So to grow something, you really have to go all in from the start and don't expect to be able to take a day off. Or if you do take a day off, there's always consequences on the other end of it.
And I also it sounds really negative and terrible, but you kind of expect it getting into it. And at the same time, when you might be, frustrated or whatever that you're never getting a time off, but you're building something for yourself and there's direct kind of benefit to you really not taking any time off. People respect it, people appreciate that, you get back to them quickly and, every day.
That's not always easy, but there are ways to build in times for yourself to do stuff, and that's a whole different topic. But
well, that's number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, I think super important to think about who you're choosing to start your business with. I think it's sometimes easy to be oh, I have this idea, let me invite my best friend, let's just do it together. And then if you don't, I think just choosing your partnerships wisely, choosing your business partners wisely, making sure that the things that you need and the things you want are going to be addressed and handled, and that you're not going to butt heads with your business partners.
Yeah, definitely speaking from experience, one of the things I wish that I had done in some of my past businesses is had a better agreement in place. When you start a business with somebody that you're excited to work with, you always have the best intentions, and both of you probably always have the best intentions, but once something starts developing, it's very easy to put your focus in other areas, and then you can find conflict and that sort of thing. And if you don't have kind of your arrangement set up between roles and responsibilities in the company, who's doing what and when, who's responsible for what,
exit strategies.
Yeah, exit strategies. If somebody just becomes unhappy or needs to change their focus, what does that look like? So everything should be really ironed out from the very start before you get into building it. Because once it's building and rolling, it's kind of in place. So make sure that no matter how good a friend it is, even if it's a family member, we should have a contract.
I got 51% of everything.
Yeah, I bet she thinks that. So yeah, anyway, just make sure that you guys have thought through every sort of scenario that could come up, what the responsibility of each partner will be, whether it be working or capital, and then have it all laid out in a contract. Again, it's just to save your butts. You don't know how things will change down the road.
Yep. From there, I think another one is important to realize that it's going to take time to actually make money.
Number 3?
Yeah, so number 3. It takes time to make money. So in my eyes, which I don't know where I've kind of come up with this, but for gyms, I usually think that it takes 2 to 3 years to get the gym profitable, get the loan paid back or whatever, and then be able to pay yourself with free money that's left over. But I think that kind of goes 2 ways. Obviously you can, if it's your only job, you need to pay yourself to simply survive. But if you have other income, then maybe you don't take money out of your new business right off the bat. Just to kind of keep it healthy. And that's kind of like what we do. We always try to make sure the company is healthy before like paying ourselves.
Yeah, and I think the bigger lesson there is just like people open a new, we'll just use like the gym as the example. People open a new gym or any business and they just expect for some reason in their head, oh, members will just flood in the doors. But it can be slow, and especially right now, it's going to be slow with everything going on in the world. But you just can't have the expectation that all of a sudden you're going to be an overnight success. It's going to take a ton of work. That's where the no days off thing comes in, and a lot of time of just like steadily building step by step, brick by brick. And then eventually, if you have enough passion, time, and commitment to it, you can turn it into something. But don't expect it to be an overnight success, I think is the big takeaway.
And if we're talking gym still, like, and if you have some sort of loan or debt on the gym, like, I mean, this varies situation to situation. I don't think there's a right answer, but like, are you benefiting more by paying yourself early on and then keeping that debt, you know, higher? Or do you benefit more from trying to like crank out, get that debt paid off and get the gym? It obviously depends on a bajillion different circumstances, but like definitely think stuff like that through. We always, all of our businesses are very different in how they're structured and everything. So like we analyze them all as individuals, which kind of gets us to our next point for this video, knowing like where every single dollar goes, and we separate all of our companies completely differently. We treat them all as individuals, and we would never like take funds from one and put them into another company. So like if one of our gyms is doing bad, then that gym is handled on its own. If it needs to be closed, changed, whatever, like that's a single gym. We would never float the healthy gym, or we never use the healthy gym to float the not healthy gym.
Yeah, I think it's like it's definitely a misconception that we face day to day out here with taking on 2 gyms pretty quickly as coming on the island. Like the online company does okay for us. That's kind of that's our main living resource. That's where we spend a lot of our time. And with the 2 gyms, people just think that, oh, they have this online company, the gyms must be fine no matter what. But we don't cross the businesses at all. The gyms are complete, singular, fixed businesses in their own right. And if one business is not doing well for whatever reason, it's run really thin and it's reflected that way. And it has to be that way until we can increase revenue in that particular business to get it healthy again. And if it doesn't increase after a certain amount of time, you have to start facing those tough decisions. Do you sell it? Do you put more effort into it? Or do you just close it down, like liquidate? There's all those things that can happen. So we're not mixing ever, and I think that's something that a lot of people would do.
This isn't financial advice.
No, this is our strategy.
This is what works for us.
This is just our strategy, and some very respected people have had this similar like chat with me about how to do this with business. But anyway, so everything's very individual for us, and we have more than just that we have going on that we separate. Everything in our lives is separate and focused as its own like living, breathing thing. And if that thing dies, then that's cut out. It's not floated by the others.
Right. And yeah, also with that, like, as far as knowing where every dollar from like each of your businesses or whatever is going, like I think also knowing we keep saying gyms because that's what we do, but like if you have a gym that's not doing so well, like at what point do you stop putting your own like personal money in to keep it alive? Like I think that's like really important too, is it's easy to be like, oh, one more month, but it's like just, I think, awareness on that. And I think for us, for each of our different businesses, we kind of have like an idea of like, if it ever got to this point, we would move on to something else, where it's not like fully ironed out. Like obviously that's, would change, but like, we made these decisions to get it started, and we've also talked about things where if we ever did have to make a tough decision to close something out.
And I think the last point on knowing where your money goes is when people plan out their financials for their business or gym, whatever it is, it's very easy to make the simple list of things, rent, payroll, whatever else, electricity bill, but people forget about the little things that add up, like Spotify accounts, or you have 3 different streaming music accounts, and you forgot to buy toilet paper and cleaning supplies. I mean, there are so many tiny expenses and little subscriptions that you might have and things that just get put on that credit card every month, and then you have your expenses out and you forget that you have $3,000 in credit card bills every month.
Essentially going in the trash too. You might not even be using it.
Yeah, it just keeps coming. So make sure that you're very detail oriented when you're looking at your credit card and checking statements as to where your money's truly going, and cut out the things you don't need, especially when you're growing. Like that extra money will serve you quite a bit down the road in the future. I think those are 4 pretty good tips for people. Oh wait, lessons. Sorry, not tips.
Yeah, they're not tips, they're lessons.
But those have worked for us, and there's probably more to it than that. But hopefully that helps you guys if you were thinking about starting a business of your own at some point.